Right, we are live. Welcome to Weekly Wise today. Well, just getting started, we'll introduce a little bit about what Weekly Wise is for those that may be their first time, and for those online, welcome. Glad to have you with us. And I can see that the sound is working this time, which is very good. Last week we had a mishap and the whole thing was muted for them, unfortunately. So we'll probably invite those guests back to do it again. Weekly Wise got started back in April as we, as a family, had a whole lot of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and we're trying to figure out what to do with it. So for those that don't know, we hosted Ben & Jerry's Free Cone Day, which every year Ben & Jerry's does their Free Cone Day. You can go to a Ben & Jerry's scoop shop, get all the ice cream you want, get in line. I usually go get in line about 13 times, 10 to 13 times, get a bunch of scoops of ice cream. And we had a great time as a family. I took the day off work. We go up as a family. It was fun. And then the last Ben & Jerry's in Utah, the franchisee closed for whatever reason. And finding that out, I was looking at the map and said, okay, Bonnie, it's Boise or Vegas? Which one are we going to? And she was like, she didn't really want to take the trip. And so she asked, would it be noble enough if we just, instead of paying the money to drive there and stay a night if we did that or whatever, would it be noble enough if we just bought the ice cream and did it ourselves? And I was like, noble enough. That sounds awesome. Let's do it. We were in. And that was about 2.5, 3 years ago now. And we did it then, and we did it again the next year. And we had about 400 people show up. And then this year, we had on Facebook, it said 2,500 people were showing up. So we bought a lot of ice cream. But due to weather and some different demographics, we only had about 1,200 people show up, which was a lot, and it was a lot of fun, but that left us with a whole lot of ice cream. And so we decided, okay, we're going to take this ice cream. We'd like to integrate it with our business somehow, but we also want to make it more than just that. Like, we want to make it something where we're providing value, where we're creating something of a lot of worth and interesting, something like that. And we came up with Weekly Wise, a place where different people who have a message to share can have a stage, have a platform to share what's in their heart. That if they have a why, it's called Weekly Wise, WHYS. If they have a why that's burning in them strong enough that they're actually willing to get up and talk about it, what is that? What drives them? And what inspiration can we glean from other people sharing their why with us? So that's where it all began. And tonight it's my pleasure, I get to introduce our friend Reid Francom. Reid, I've known the Francoms for, welcome. I've known the Francoms for, it's been 2.5 probably years now. I would say we were at an event together and sat next to each other, and Reid actually just looked over me and said, so, you want to partner on a real estate deal? And it was totally out of the blue. And we were at a real estate event, but it just kind of caught me off guard. I was like, well, actually, I am looking for a partner, but I have credit. I'm looking for a money partner, and I assumed that he was doing the same. And he said, oh, well, that's great. I'm an entrepreneur, and they still like me. I'm looking for a credit partner. And I said, serious? It was awesome. So it worked out. We partnered and on a real estate deal that's been going well. And now, pleasure to he's been cutting my hair. Speaking of, barber stuff over here. He is a barber, a third-generation barber. They've been married, have 3 kids, and just fun, delightful people. So it is my pleasure to welcome up Reid Francom.
Hello. Thanks for attending my presentation on the Weekly Wise, and thanks, Matt, for your introduction and for having me in your home. And the things that we're going to talk about tonight are, okay, so let me start over here. So excuse me. So I'm a third-generation barber, like Matt was saying. And one night after work, I was cleaning up all of my tools and sweeping the hair And I worked in front of a big mirror. And I had a quote from a client. He gave me a business card with a quote on it. And I hung it on my mirror, and I looked at it every so often, but it caught my eye this one night. And I kept reading it. And the quote was, it's by Mark Twain, and it goes something like this. Ships are in the harbor for safety, but are ships meant to be in the harbor? Do they get anything done when they're in the harbor? No, they don't. They are meant to be out in the ocean. Out in the ocean, they are not safe, but in the harbor, they are. And I kept reading that over and over. I kept reading it, and it meant a lot to me that night. And I thought about my situation that I was in. I thought, I'm in a safe harbor right now. I have a great job. I have a pension. I have Cadillac health insurance. And here I am, I'm safe. And I was kind of getting sick of being safe. And I thought, when is it going to be my turn to go out in the ocean? And a few months later, my wife, she, unbeknownst to me, she said a prayer. And she said, I need more time and more money, Heavenly Father. And where am I going to get that? And about a week later, I went to work, and I walked into work, and my boss told me, he said, we don't need you anymore here. And so I packed up my stuff, left, and called my wife, and I said, it's over in Draper. I no longer have a job there. And she thought to herself, wow, this prayer's really kicking in. I have more time with my husband. So fast forward another couple months, and I go to my full-time job. And they have a mandatory meeting. They've been kicking around an idea of opening up a salon, and they always included the barbers in it. And we got word that at this mandatory meeting, that all the barbers were going to go to separate rooms. And all the girls, the part-time girls, were going to go to a meeting about the salon. And it really made my boss nervous there. And I wasn't so nervous. I thought, oh, they're going to include us. They, nothing's going on. And as I walked upstairs with a group of girls, and I looked in the room that I was supposed to go into, there was 2 administrators. And I thought, I'm getting laid off. And I remember telling the girl, one of the girls that I was walking by, and I knew exactly what was happening. So at that moment, my safe harbor had abandoned me. I was like, whoa, what am I going to do now? I called my wife and had the same conversation again a couple months later, and I was free. I had been in this job for over a decade, both jobs for over a decade, and we had our life all planned out. I thought I was going to work in my work for over 30 years and get a good retirement, have all these benefits the rest of my life, and they all just vanished just like that. My wife, I've heard her explain that our life was a puzzle, and it was all put together. And somebody came by and lifted it up and just threw it on the ground, and all these puzzle pieces were all over. And we needed to put it back together, and that's been our journey ever since. So why do I tell you this story? I tell you this story because my purpose is to enlighten people and let them know about our human body and our soul, how they're at battle with one another. And we are battling over who gets control over our mind. So by the time we were 8 years old, they've done studies on it. By the time we were 8 years old, we've been told the word no 35 to 40,000 times. And the word yes, about 6,000. So what kind of thoughts dominate our minds naturally?
What we've been fed.
Yeah, what we've been fed, right? So
that we can't do it.
That we can't do it. Yeah. So we have these thoughts dominating our mind, and how do we overcome these thoughts? Anybody have any ideas?
Deposit more yeses in
Deposit more yeses in.
the account.
I like it. I like that. Anybody else?
Be around uplifting people.
Be around uplifting people.
Find somebody who's done it
Okay.
that will help you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Find somebody that's done it themselves. Yes.
Has fruit on the trees, where I want to be, and
Sure.
is willing to show me the way.
Great. So I'd like to propose. Oh, what was that?
Affirmations.
Affirmations. Okay. Matt, you have something on your mind I can tell?
I was just echoing what she said, a mentor.
A mentor. Yeah, exactly.
Breaking it down into small yes-sized pieces.
Okay, that's good. Feed yourself those yes answers instead of, and see if you can overcome the no's. That's a lot, right?
Well, big picture can feel like no, but if we break it down into yes-sized pieces, I can't do all of that, but I could do this, and then I could do that, and then I could do this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an experience with my father when I was younger. We'd always go outside of Green River, Wyoming. I grew up in Green River, Wyoming, and we'd always go outside of town to this bridge, and we'd watch the railroad go, the train go underneath the bridge. And we'd often go out and we'd light fireworks out there, and we'd have a good time. And I had a younger brother. He was about 15 years younger than me, and my dad was carrying him, and we were out there. And as we were driving home, he mentioned to me that he had this crazy thought come to his mind, and this thought was that he should take my younger brother and throw him off the bridge. Where did that thought come from? He did not generate that thought on his own. I propose that we have people on the other side that are trying to hold us down. So that's why I tell you that story. My mentor, one of my mentors, has had 5-year-olds tell him that they have had plans to take their own lives, that things have been fed into their minds. So how do we overcome these things in our lives? That's a very negative thought, right? How do we overcome these things? So I have 3 tools to help people overcome these thoughts. So tool number 1 is to take a piece of paper and draw a line right down the middle of it. And on the left side, you write down your top 10 negative thoughts. Top 10 that you've had for the day. And you write them all down. And then on the right-hand side, there's a little symbolism there. You write down 2 positive thoughts. So to give you an example, the number 1 thought of somebody's day could be, I'm not a good father or mother. Does anybody ever have thoughts like that?
No.
Okay, so on the right-hand side, to give you this example, is to write, I'm the best father or mother, and I am a great homekeeper, or I am a great provider. And you'd write 10 of those for the day.
Wait, 10. My math's not straight with what you're saying, sorry.
Yeah.
10 of these and then 2 of these, or 10
2
of
bad ones and 10 good ones?
Yeah, so for every negative thought, you write 2
It was
good ones.
inverted at the beginning.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry, a little confusing.
I wondered, 10 negatives and 2 positive. No way.
Yeah, so for every negative, so you're going to have 10 negative thoughts and you'll have 20 positive thoughts when you're done.
So 2 for each negative, 2 positives for each negative. Okay.
Yeah. So that's tool number 1. So you're asking yourself, would I do this? Would I take the time out of my day to think about my negative thoughts? Do you think you have negative thoughts? That's the number 1 question. A lot of us think maybe we don't even have negative thoughts. Our minds are kind of numb. We do things that numb our minds all day long. The average American watches 4 hours of television. The average American spends 3 hours on his cell phone or her cell phone. The average teenager spends about 9 hours on their cell phone. You think they're thinking about what thoughts are going through their mind at that time? I'm guessing not. It's a mind-numbing thing. We do things to numb our mind. We have unlimited sugar. We have unlimited fat. We have unlimited salt in our society. We have unlimited streaming pornography if we want it. So how do we make it so we have a clear mind? No ideas?
Well, there was one tool you mentioned.
One tool. The one tool that I mentioned, yeah.
Daily guideline,
Daily
our own
guidelines.
personal goals.
Okay.
Meditation.
Yeah.
I have a little devotional for myself in the morning. I have a little, you know, where I listen to good things, listen to uplifting things, motivational things, read scriptures, have prayer, tune in, and then I go for a long walk,
Awesome.
which is you know,
I love
a
that.
mental, spiritual, and then physical, and that starts my day off right before I have a chance to be awake.
Yes. That's great. That's really awesome.
My devotional starts at 5:30.
5:30 a.m.
I'm not awake enough to be negative.
The only negative thought at that point is, I'm still sleepy.
Why am I out of bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, oh man, go
I
ahead.
had a thought there too is one flag that comes up, it takes some training, but one flag that can come up just to become conscious is our emotions. When you have negative emotions come up, whether it's frustration, anger, lowered feelings, you know, that kind of a thing, that often can be a flag, a trigger, and say, hey, I had some thoughts somewhere that aren't serving me, they're a negative influence, or maybe I've acted in a way that wasn't consistent with the inspiration I received, and so I'm now having thoughts to try to justify it, and I don't feel good about it because of that, you know, things like that. The emotions can be a huge indicator to help us if we pay attention to it, and we can train ourselves to pay attention to that, of, hey, what's going on, get conscious about it.
Cool.
Our results too. I mean, what our results are in our business or in our life really show where our positive and negative thoughts are.
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for reminding me of that. So a thought turns into an emotion. An emotion turns into an action, and then an action turns into a result. So that's a great, thank you guys for reminding me of that. So in this exercise of writing down your thoughts, a thought came to me as when I was first married, I started to begin to go out and go on long runs. Has anybody ever went on a long run? Okay.
Define long.
Yeah.
For me,
long.
it's been long, and I know that for her, she'd consider my long like a jog.
Yeah.
Quick jog.
Yeah. So when you're starting out, how is it? Are you able to just go stand up and then just go for 100 miles, or 5 miles, or even a mile? Not generally, unless you're superhuman. I guess there's a guy on this show called Superhuman, and he can run forever, and his heart rate just never goes up. So he's superhuman, but the rest of us, you know, like when I began to jog, I'd go out and I could maybe run for 5-10 minutes. I don't know how long it was. I would run until I was out of breath, and then I'd have to walk. And then I'd run some more, then I'd walk. I'd run some more, and then I'd walk. But finally, I was able to just run for 5 miles. And then I started to go faster and faster and faster. And then I had a client come to me and say, hey, Reid, I hurt myself training for a marathon. Do you want to run my marathon? And I thought, well, I ran 5 miles. Marathon's 26.2 miles. So I thought, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So I had 1 week to get ready. 1 week. And in that week, I believe I went on a few 5-mile runs, and then I took time out of my day to go for a 14-mile run. And then I went the next Saturday and I ran for 26.2 miles. And I got an okay time. I finished it. I got 4 hours and 19 minutes. I finished 26.2 miles. The next year comes around. Thank you. The next year comes around, and I thought, okay, that was fun. I want to follow a training guideline. I believe you start about 16 weeks before the race, and you start and you go and you run so many miles and you work your way up to 18 miles or something like that in this training regimen that I was following. And I did that pretty consistently. And when I went to run my marathon, I finished in 3 hours and 36 minutes. Another okay time. I had a time at the end of the marathon where I walked a whole mile. I could have got a lot faster time if I wouldn't have walked that last mile 23. I walked the whole thing. It really set me back. So the reason why I tell you this is it's the same way when we write down our thoughts. If we'll take the time out of our day to write down 10 negative thoughts, your top 10, and it's great to clear your mind. Go for a walk or something, meditate, read scriptures, whatever you do to connect with your higher power, and then your mind will be more clear. And one thing that I've done to help my mind be more clear is I've turned the radio off. I drive to work and I have the radio on for 40 minutes, and you don't choose what you put into your mind if you do that. I've chosen to listen to audios, and that helps your mind be more clear, and you can actually hear those negative thoughts. So that's tool number one. Take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and then what do?
Write the negatives, write the little positives.
Okay, thank you. All right, so tool number two is to write a vision of yourself, what you want your life to be like. You need an image in your mind of what you want your life to be. So you take a paragraph at least, if not a full page, and you write down your vision or the life that you want. And if you don't know the life that you want, make one up. It's as simple as that. Write a superhero story. Matt wants a school in Costa Rica. Necia wants, I don't know, what do you want? Bonnie, what do you want?
I want to help families be really strong.
Okay, awesome. So write down your vision and how you see your life, and then before you go to bed, you read it every night. And then what happens to your mind? What happens?
Marinates
Yeah, that's a good word.
in what you
It takes
thought
care of
about.
the
Yeah, it starts to affect your neural system, or what is it called?
Yeah, so Necia hit it on the head. So when you repeat something, I like to do things in repetition. I like to run. I go running 3 or 4 times a week. I like to do CrossFit. I like to listen to audios over and over and over again. I don't even mind watching a movie over and over again if it's a good movie. And then when you do that, when you do something over and over again, you train your brain. You make a neural pathway through your brain. You have this rut that you make through your brain. Have you ever heard rut used in the positive? Think of the Grand Canyon. How many people come and visit the Grand Canyon from all over the world? Is that a rut? Yeah.
Really good one.
Yeah, it's a really big one. So that's a beautiful place, right? So our minds are beautiful. So in our beautiful minds, we need to put ruts through our minds. We need to dig it deeper and deeper. And the more we read that, the more it will go into our minds. And it'll have that positive affirmations that we say to ourselves about it. And I know from experience this works. I know from experience. I've had an experience with this to where it has boosted my confidence up really high. So that's tool number 2. Write a vision of your life. Have that vision next to your bedstand at night. And your subconscious mind, which is an automatic mind, things happen automatically through your subconscious mind. You have that, you marinate it, and your life will become that vision.
When you can actually picture it too, because normally we can only picture what we've already experienced. So if we've only experienced struggle with money, struggle with our business, struggle with our family, that's what you picture the rest of your life to be, unless you start to visualize something else to help program your mind to. Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else have any comments? Am I making sense? Are you learning anything? Completely? All right, great. So tool number 3 would be to have a black journal. Does anybody have a journal? Yeah? Is it black?
I have one of those.
Does it have a key on it so you can lock it? Probably
Not yet,
not.
but I will.
Not yet, but you will. All right. So tool number 3 is to have a black journal and to write down every single negative thought that comes into your mind. Sounds like a lot of work, huh? A lot of writing going on here. But is it worth it? Is it worth it?
If you turn it around.
It is worth it. That's what we got to tell ourselves. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of, you have to do some planning and be able to have that time to write down all these negative thoughts. Like one of my mentors says, when you write stuff down, you, if you have something that's really negative, like that experience I shared about my father, something like that comes into your mind, you don't really necessarily put that into your black journal because you want to have that black journal around and you don't really want deep details about something really negative, just kind of mention it. And then on a separate piece of paper, you write down that exact experience you had exactly. And then you go out and you become a pyromaniac and you burn it. So, or you have a shredder or something, you destroy it. So why do we do that? Why do we destroy something?
It's fun to see the negative things burn away or go away and to start fresh.
Okay.
It does
I like
something
that.
for your subconscious mind. To see the symbol of this paper represented my negative thought and this fire is destroying it. And in your mind, that thought gets destroyed.
It's gone. And to realize that those thoughts were not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna get rid of.
Get rid of them. Yes. In those are great, all great answers. So it gives your brain evidence, and you're telling your brain this is not going to happen on my watch. I just look at the nightly news. I have an app on my phone, the Desert News app, and I cannot believe the chaos that is in this world. One of my clients works with the state, which is ECSF. I say that right? And he told me, he said, if you only knew what was going on around you, it would blow your mind if I took you in one of my homes that I visit on a regular basis. So we have a battle going on in this life and between our ears. And everyone has one. Everyone has a battle going on. Because we all have brains, right? And we all heard the word no how many times before we were the age 8? Does anybody remember?
35 to 40K.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a no wonder we have this battle. And we're all brainwashed by the media, by movies, society, yes. So writing down these negative thoughts in your black journal is definitely worth it. It's just as worth it as taking your time to go out for a run. Has anybody ever felt a runner's high? Yeah. So scientists have done research on the different chemicals that are released in our brains, speaking of the runner's high. And we have all these different chemicals that are released on our brains. They come down on our brains. They shower down on our brains. And we get some from sugar. We get some from making some money. We get others from doing other things. But what's the one thing that we can do to make the chemical last the longest? Any ideas?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Okay. I like that. So the one thing that can last the longest is to know our purpose.
Our purpose.
Yeah. So I was out on a run the other day, and I saw somebody painted on a sign, and they quoted Heber J. Grant. And Heber J. Grant said, "Knowledge is useless unless it's put into action." So we can learn all this knowledge, but if we don't put it into action, is it useful for us? No, it's not.
No, then it becomes one of those negative thoughts. Oh, I learned that and I didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Bonnie. Yes, so it becomes one of those negative thoughts. If we don't do anything about it, it doesn't help us. So let's do something. Let's get out and do something. And let's start with ourselves. That's a great opportunity, huh? And we can start with our families. We can get our families black journals. And if they can't write the words down, have them draw the pictures. Have them draw pictures and have them write down things that are going on in their heads, because we need to know what's going on in our families' heads. Is that important to us? We love our families. Let's teach our families this stuff. So when we do this, we have a clear mind. And another one of my mentors has this formula called the APC formula. It stands for authenticity, power, and clarity. When we have authenticity, power, and clarity in our business, we're able to upgrade our business. And that's why I gave the title of my presentation tonight, to upgrade your business. Because once we upgrade our minds and the real estate between our heads and our ears here, we'll be able to upgrade everything else around us. Everything else will flow for us. And we'll have the life that we want. It is a journey, though. It is a journey. It's just not going to happen. You're just not going to get up out of your chair and run a marathon.
You might, but you might.
Without having a heart attack. Yeah, or it's just a journey. You need to work your way into positive thoughts. And that is my message for tonight. And I'd like to thank Matt again, and thank everyone for their attention and for their cooperation and participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Reid. Appreciate that. Appreciate your time and your willingness to show up and share. That was great. One thing that particularly enjoyed about what you're talking about, you constantly were mentioning, well, from this mentor, and I have this mentor that taught this, and this mentor that taught this. I love how much mentors can teach us different tools, different things that can help us, whatever aspect of life. And some things will resonate with us from a mentor, and some things won't, and that's all great. But we find tools, and they help us see those blind spots, and I just think that's absolutely excellent. So thank you. Really appreciate some of those tools, and I'm familiar with a lot of those tools. I haven't done some of them in quite a while, so it'd be good, some good revisiting for me. So thank you. It is my privilege at the moment now to introduce my favorite person on the planet. That would be my wife. To talk a little bit about her, what drives her and is in her heart, and to also offer you a free gift and just give you some information, as I mentioned, as soon as our baby is made sure that he's alive. A little bit about what we're doing, as mentioned at the beginning. This is related to our business. But if we invite people like Reid to come share, because people who resonate with messages like what Reid has shared and what other speakers share are people who are going to resonate with what we have to share as well. So with that, please welcome up my beautiful bride, Bonnie Parks.
Thank you. Now he gets to be on marble babysitting duty. The big fight that you're listening to is all over who has the marbles. So I want to thank Reid also for coming and for sharing. That was really inspiring. I especially personally like that part about the sole purpose is what keeps you on your high the longest. That's the part that I had never heard before, and yet it makes so much sense. As soon as you said that, I thought about times recently when I've felt that high the most and the strongest and the longest, and I can really see that that's when I've been doing work that aligns with my purpose, which happens to go along really well with what Reid has shared of helping people find their mission and their clarity and what kind of people they want to be, and then turning around the stuff that's getting in the way. So I love that kind of work. Right now, I want to invite everyone who's here who has not already downloaded the app that I'm going to be sharing to get out your phones, get out your tablets if you're online, get out whatever device you have. And Matt said we have a free gift tonight. The free gift is a free app. And one thing that's super cool about this app, it's a mentoring app. And that is that every day they put on there a mentor moment. And it's just 1.5 to 2 minutes a day. And until our apps stopped working on our phones, which Matt and I have not figured out why that happened. Apparently it happened with Necia too. I think there's an updating kind of thing. And my phone likes to tell me how I don't have enough storage, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, until that point, I listened to many of these mentor moments and found them inspiring and uplifting. And if you are in the boat where you have yet to implement a daily practice like what Reid was sharing of turning around your negative thoughts and connecting with mentors, this could be one great thing. If you already have such practice, it's 1.5 to 2 minutes. Throw it in there that you can just listen to your daily mentor moment. So go to your app store and just type in Strongbrook, STRONGBROOK, and that's the name of the app. So there's a free version on, and then there's also the premium version that you can update to. So we just wanted to share the free version. As you download it, there will come a point where you need to put in a code to be able to have it on your phone. And so if you do not have that code, then you need to just ask the person who invited you here for what their code is. And that's how we keep track of who's where and what everybody's doing. Also on this app, they have a free course that they do every month. So through this mentoring network that the app is representing, there's many different mentors with many different courses that have donated and put their content onto this network. And there's one course that's highlighted every month. I know that this month's course is called Flipping the Gratitude Switch. And it's our good friend Kevin Clayson who has developed this whole method of how to add gratitude to your life and how when you're having the negative thoughts to turn around and flip the switch with gratitude. And I read his book that is just coming out and highly, highly recommend his content. So I'm sure I haven't taken his course, but I have read his book and I'm sure it's as delightful as he is and very inspiring. So that's our free gift to you. And then as that's all happening and you're finding out your code for downloading the app, I just want to share with you a little bit more about Strongbrook and mentoring and why we keep talking about mentoring and why we keep inviting people into our house who keep talking about mentoring. For us, it's been a total game changer, a life changer. It was about 4 years ago, 4.5 now, that I read a book that catalyst to get it all started. Matt, that would be the computer's dying noise, if you want to do something about that. Except the funny thing is the computer is plugged in. The computer said it's dying. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Anyway, so I read this book, and in this book it talked about reading classics and gaining mentors in your life, and it was like it just hadn't occurred to me. As soon as I read it, I thought, oh, if I did this, my life would be better than it is, and away I went. And since then, we've been to seminars, and we've read books, and we've taken classes, and done audios, and implemented tools, and so many things that have made quite a difference in our lives. And so it's something that we highly, highly, highly recommend. So Strongbrick has a few different things to offer. One is real estate. Like Matt said, that's how we met the Francoms. And that's been an enjoyable and a money-making opportunity for us. And for many, many people, it's a very successful real estate arm. That's not what Weekly Wise is as much focused on, though. We really want to share and promote this mentoring network so that people can just find little things to do to improve their lives and mostly change their mindset. Just like Reid was talking about, when we change our beliefs and align them more with our purpose, so much of our life comes into place how we want it to go, and we take off and have much better results and much more fulfillment. And for me, that's what it's really all about. I do want a business, and I want a thriving, lovely business, and I want a family, and I want a healthy body, and I want all of these things. But the real reason that we want all of those things is so that we can feel happy and fulfilled. And to me, that's one of the main reasons why we're here on Earth. And what I have found is that there are people who know better than I do how to have those things, how to have a thriving business. That's something I don't know all that much about, and I'm just kind of getting started. How to have a happy family, I'm a lot better at that one. And yet there's a lot of help that I need to help make that happen. And when I get in those situations where it's like, this kid's crying and this kid won't do anything that I say, and all of those things, you just get to that spot where you're like, where do I turn for help? And many of us are God-fearing, believing people, and that is an incredible source of help. And I've also found that I believe that he wants us to ask each other and to help each other along the way too. That some answers he gives to certain people in certain ways, and that's part of their mission, to learn those answers and to share them. And so I don't have to figure out every answer for every question for every part of my life all by myself. I can turn to others. And so whether it's the mentoring network or whatever your goal to be, I encourage all of you to continue on the path or start on the path of connecting in with your source of inspiration and knowledge, and then letting him or it or whatever that source is for you direct you to the courses, the books, the friends, the mentors that you need. And on this mentoring network, it is one really fantastic place to find a lot of those answers. There's mentors about many, many, many subjects and many different styles and different things. So I've really appreciated and enjoyed what I've found on there. And so I hope that you all will partake and enjoy too. And speaking of partaking, I will turn the time back over to Matt.
Hey, come on up. So we have a little bit of a tradition with this, just like when a new technology toy comes out and they, do an unboxing video about it. We like to do a little bit of an unboxing with ice cream. So Reid mentioned that one of his favorite flavors of berries is half-baked, which is chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream and chocolate brownie ice cream swirled together in one flavor. And it's absolutely delicious. And actually it recently became the #1 top-selling Ben & Jerry's flavor, overtaking Cherry Garcia about 3 years ago. Random useful fact for Jerry.
If you want to know Ben & Jerry's trivia, Matt is here.
You got a shovel there.
It's a Ben & Jerry's shovel. Ben & Jerry's sent us. Yeah, they sent us to it. That's the Ben & Jerry's one.
Nice.
It's actually a great little spoon for digging into pints. Not that I would know. Oh yeah, see, look at that. Really good. For those online, this is what you get when you come join us live. Okay?
Kind of hard to eat it online.
Yeah. We
We've been
haven't
trying to figure out that
got
technology.
that technology down yet. So
Didn't get it.
it's
Awesome.
kind of solid and hard, but
All right. Well, thank you, man.
enjoy. So thank you, Reid.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate having
Thanks
you
for
here.
having. Yeah, thanks for having.
And next week we will have Brady Mitchell will be coming. Good stuff. Next week, Brady Mitchell will be coming, and he will be, I forget the exact topic name, but basically he's going to be talking about trying to fail. His topic is essentially that, and why he expresses it in that way. So looking forward to him next week. Please come join us again. Bring friends. If there's someone that you feel like, hey, come with me. I know you love this too. Bring them. If nothing else, bribe them with ice cream. And with that, have a great night. We'll see you next week. Thanks all.